This is like no other AI interview. You know the one. AI will change everything and agents who don't adapt will die. And here's a dashboard with some fancy glowing buttons. Jerimiah Taylor, he's the founder of BrokerBot, an AI platform for real estate companies. And he says that most agents, they're not even asking the right question about AI. And before you ask, no, I didn't get paid to talk about BrokerBot. In fact, I'm actually not even a user of the product. Not because I don't think it's a good product, but because I'm not their target customer today.
We've onboarded now 26,000 people to BrokerBot. And you get this moment where they get there, they see the chat window, they see some of the tiles of what they can do, and they're like, where do I start? The first few times I got that, where my brain went is like, okay, well, these are smart people. So pretend for a minute that I just joined your team, and let's just agree that I'm a reasonably smart human. Where would you have me start? What's the first thing you would have me do in your brokerage? And it was really eye-opening for me that I had super smart people just stare at me with this blank stare of I don't know what I would have you do.
No judgment. That's a thoughtful question that requires some thought. And 26,000 smart people with a blank stare, and the reason that they're stuck has nothing to do with AI. It's a challenge that every business has. Clarity.
When we go into a leadership team where they really have it together, and they have playbooks and it's documented and people have roles and they have specific problems they're looking to solve, well, life is a lot easier. But for a lot of these teams, we are joining their leadership team almost as a consultant that's kind of helping them get organized a little bit and figuring out where they even need help.
That's the real AI problem in real estate. It's not prompt writing. It's not which model do you use. It's delegation. And the businesses winning with AI, they're the ones that know the principles of delegating to humans. Because delegating to AI, it follows those same principles. So if AI is not a magic wand, where does it actually go in your business?
Mental model, think of an org chart, right? And you've got this regular people-based org chart. In the new world, think about that org chart and each one has 5 or 10 little octopus legs off of it. And in each of those is an AI assistant. The way that I encourage people to think about assistants are that they're highly specialized. A lot of market centers have to deal with AR. So you have hundreds of agents. At the end of the month, some of their credit cards went through, some of them got hacked and got a new card, some moved, something happened, right? And there's dozens to hundreds of agents that you have this spreadsheet of who paid and who didn't. You got to do something with it. One of the most common things we see is that the MCA builds a monthly AR assistant where they have a workflow, they give it that sheet, it pulls the roster, it sends emails to the agents with the links to update their payment info, and then it just tells them who did and who didn't.
That's no different though than hiring any other human assistant. The amazing transaction coordinator I have has been with me for 7 years now. I don't have to communicate all of those workflow specific destinations because we've got 7 years of history, right? But if the process changes, I would have to communicate all of the new endpoints in the workflow. And so what I hear you saying is that BrokerBot can work the same way.
Yep, that's exactly right.
One narrow job with defined inputs and defined outputs, run on a schedule. That's the same workflow as onboarding a human. And where people get AI backwards is they don't start with the job and they don't start with a clear problem to solve.
Where do I think that people will get the most leverage from AI? It's easier for me to say the other way around. Where do I think they get the least leverage from AI? And that is anything that requires talking to a human, you should do. That is your one job as a real estate agent or broker is talking to humans and building relationships with them. I'll talk to an agent and they'll be like, so can BrokerBot call my leads? And I'll go, can and should are two different things. So let me just ask you a question. How many robocalls do you get a day that you're really excited about?
Your flight gets canceled and you need to rebook and it's a complicated rebook and you call the airline. Are you hoping that you get an AI assistant that answers? The next worst thing is you get somebody in some far third world country who can't solve your problem, and then your best case scenario is you get somebody who's a 25-year vet and they solve all of your problems and they make you feel good while they do it. That is the job. Some things can't be outsourced.
The best case would be that somebody called you before your flight got canceled and they said, hey, Eric, your flight's about to get canceled. I've gone ahead and I've rebooked you at this day and time. Does that work for you? And that's how real estate agents have to think about this process. That's the economy that we're in now, is the experience economy. And I think the more prevalent AI becomes, the less knowledge matters and the more that experience matters.
AI is commoditizing knowledge. And that's actually already happened. Contract analysis, market data, property research, All of it, it's getting cheaper and faster every month. But what you do better is what AI can't do.
God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Use them in that proportion. The things that people care about are the things that they don't tell you. It's the things that you catch on to by just paying attention, right? And so when you hear somebody talk about something and it's the way they want to live in the house, the thing they're contemplating, you don't in the moment need to say oh, let me take care of that for you. You just go take care of it for them. And you say, hey, by the way, I overheard you say this and here's what I did about it.
So if AI can't replace the relationship, maybe it can at least tell you who's going to move.
My previous company was a large search portal. We spent a lot of money, hundreds of millions, trying to predict consumer behavior. And what's really interesting about buying homes is that even after hundreds of millions of dollars, you never can beat a coin flip.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, and AI still gets outclassed by a fortune cookie and Miss Cleo. If AI can't replace the human relationships, and apparently it can't tell you who's going to move, how are agents using AI to get leverage in their business?
Typically rule lookup, reading contracts, planning things, working tactically on the transaction is number one. Number two is marketing. We have an unbelievable amount of virtual staging, creating flyers, creating social posts. That stunned me when I went and looked at how often people use it for that. It was not a supported use case. Nowhere in the product did it say that you could do images and virtual staging or any of that stuff. And it was in the first month after we launched Gemini 3, people did 5,600 virtual staging sessions. Nowhere in our product does it say virtual staging. This is people just organically figuring out, I want to virtually stage this house. We got tons of support tickets. So we wrote an agent that would, so that when people asked about virtual staging, it would do a good job of it. And we only wrote that because we had hundreds of people complaining about how bad the model was on its own. So then we wrote it and it got good at it. And then when it got good at it, they started telling people about it. And when they told people about it, it's just this weird user flywheel.
And the other big way that agents like you are using AI is to audit your own work before you ship it to your clients.
Hey, I wrote this contract. Did I do it the right way? Hey, I did this CMA. Can you double check my work and make sure that it's accurate? Or, I did this this rental analysis. And they use it a lot for that. And to me, that's part of being a better agent.
And really, that's the same thing that agents have been relying on managing brokers, peers, and experts for, to make sure their clients get the best outcome by getting a second opinion. It's just that now they're using AI to get that second opinion. And doing this one step costs you nothing. But Jerimiah warns that maybe you don't want to use the free AI app to get a second opinion on everything.
You're in that golden age right now where I can go to Perplexity Computer or Claude Cowork, and I can say, hey, log into my MLS for me and do these things. In the next 6 months, all the MLSs are going to block all that stuff. And the reality is because they have zero incentive to make that easy for you. And they're going to want to go do business with companies like us that do proper APIs and have enterprise guardrails and respect their IP.
That's like the Napster moment where it's still the Wild West. Licensing hasn't taken over. The attorneys haven't shown up and gotten their portion. It's still a little free range, Wild West and Golden Age.
We use zero data retention models and enterprise grade security so that you don't end up leaking your customers' PII to the model or become training data in some future iteration.
When you paste a contract into the free version of the consumer AI tool, you might be handing your client's personal information to a model that's using it to train, because that's the default setting of most free tools.
The broker comes to us and they're like, hey, I have 200 agents. How much is BrokerBot? It's $1,000 a month. And they go, wow, that's a lot of money. And I say, that's okay. Go call OpenAI and Claude and ask them for a 200-person enterprise license. And after they tell you it's $30,000 a month, call me back and I'll tell you where to sign.
Listen, I'm not here to sell you BrokerBot. There are other enterprise-grade options. The point is, if you're a broker with agents touching client data with AI, you just need to know the difference between consumer-grade and enterprise-grade tools, because $1,000 a month is cheap compared to the cost of an E&O claim and your reputation. So here's your homework for the week. Open a Google Doc and title it something like Reasonably Smart Human, and write down what you'd hand a new hire on day one. Not like a dream list, but the actual list with specificity. What contracts would you have them review? What emails would you have your new hire answer? What market data would they pull, or what follow-ups would they run? This is the document for your AI roadmap. You can use BrokerBot or Claude or ChatGPT or whatever you prefer. It doesn't matter, because the bottleneck is not the model. The bottleneck is clarity written down.